So this is now the second video I have made regarding the chest harness I have developed to largely improve the entire letter carrying experience by making it much easier to manage and organize letter volumes and neighborhood mail. My harness allows for a much safer, more organized and linear mail and householder carry to be employed, while at the same time creating volume management attributes and time management attributes that allow for an improved visual quality, granting ability for carriers to be able to focus more on pathway obstructions and hazards. This will result in less injuries on duty from preoccupation of organizing mail while moving from one point of call to another. For myself and others who have been fortunate enough to test this device already, perhaps the most important aspect of my harness is its ability to proactively eliminate the multiple repetitive strain injuries that can occur to letter carriers, while on the same note allow for linear recovery to those carriers who have had the unfortunate happenstance to struggle with any of the many forms of tendinitis, epicondylitis, and nerve entrapment, including carpal tunnel and cubital tunnel syndrome, from the repetitive nature of the daily task of handling and delivering mail and householder bundles. I would like to briefly touch on why this device is important, the reasons as to why myself and others are interested in using one moving forward, and what it has done for myself and others who have had experience to date with the harness, as it has without question provided a profound effect on their lives, both inside and outside of work. Aside from the previous attributes discussed here and in my other video demonstrating the harness, the most important attribute of using a harness is the result of using a much more manageable and operational standpoint with delivery. The organizational benefits contribute to the safety benefits it encompasses, the posturing benefits, and the liberation benefit of allowing the burden of weight from mail and householder bundles to now be transferred from an uncomfortable and unnatural arm carrying position to a much better streamlined distribution of weight around one's upper torso. This has a result of a much more organized and comfortable work method by eliminating root problems, all adding up to an undeniably improved quality of life both inside and outside of work. After experiencing a multiple of problems with my arms as a result of conventional mail carrying methods, I took a step back to evaluate why I was having such problems, spending enormous amounts of time and money treating symptoms without being able to get to the root of the problems experienced from my daily work routine. The majority of my free time now spent in therapy and treatment, only to allow for a continuation of work the next week, resulting in further aggravation, resulting in more therapy and treatment, and so on and so on. The now diminished quality of life experienced is having an unwelcome effect on me. The simple acts of washing one's hair or brushing one's teeth, for example, are now a challenge to even look forward to. Spending time doing the things we love are now overridden with the thought of getting the experience over with as soon as possible so that one can get home to begin a stretching and treatment routine. I am now held hostage by an uncomfortable body screaming at me at every turn of the page. Back to work now. To only make things worse, I am faced with three options. 1. Quit my job and move on. 2. Continue down this path in despair with wishful thinking that things will get better. Or option 3, find a better way and eliminate all of the aforementioned problems. I chose option 3. I worked very hard to develop my harness and put it to use rigorously, putting it to test, as a result succeeding in overcoming all of the aforementioned problems. There is no question that this device has had a very profound effect on everyone who has come in contact with it in regards to the alleviation and prevention of the multitude of injuries occurring, including lateral and bilateral epicondylitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, cubital tunnel syndrome, and tendinitis, to name a few, within the shoulders, arms, wrists, and hands. The fact that this device is allowing many to perform their job duties in a safer and less stressful environment will be touched on later as I share some of the many testimonials that have been sent to most of you watching this video regarding the harness's performance and results. As you are well aware, many of these types of injuries require months of rehabilitation, and the probability of surgery is very high. This in turn involves even more time off work, where some of these surgeries themselves are controversial as to whether or not they will cause even more damage. I would ask the question as to why one would not eliminate the potential of this to occur proactively instead of allowing for permanent damage to happen, then react with months of therapy, surgery, and rehabilitation, and at what cost. I would also like to mention that while I personally was seeking therapy from a physio, she had mentioned to me that she was currently seeing many Canada Post employees with similar problems to my own, while some had the exact same injury and were being treated for. In my case, it was cubital tunnel syndrome. Well before postal transformation, I began to develop cubital tunnel syndrome in my left arm from carrying the single bundle method. I asked around. I noted that many of the other letter carriers were also struggling with repetitive strain injuries due to carry methods with no relief aside from the usual physio and chirotherapy that usually was nothing more than a band-aid solution and a very short-term relief for a long-term problem that could continually be aggravated by daily tasks at work. Not wanting to have a controversial surgery to repair my arm and then continue down a road of rehabilitation and problems, I found another way, and that was by using the harness I had developed. Basically, I eliminated the problem I was having from carrying a bundle of mail in my arm by transferring it into my harness. The distribution of this weight is now much more evenly dispersed around my upper torso rather than leaving my arm to carry the load and risk any further damage. This also allowed for my arm to start healing properly rather than re-aggravating it every single day and accomplishing nothing within the healing process. Again, I want to make it clear that the number of letter carriers falling from repetitive strain injuries caused by any type of bundle method is staggering. These are all letter carriers looking to eliminate bundles altogether. This is what the harness does. Repetitive strain injuries caused by carrying mail in any form of conventional method are now eliminated. Why? Because the carry is now eliminated. A very simple premise used to eliminate a very serious and problematic issue. Surgery for carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel syndrome, and other repetitive strain injuries is not a logical or appropriate answer to this problem. Eliminating it at the root cause by utilizing a harness is. There seems to be a trite speculation that my harness hinders one's ability to see their field of vision properly. I am getting somewhat tired of addressing this speculative opinion that I believe to be a false, uninformed assumption put forth. As my testimonials will show you, the device in no way hinders one's field of vision, and in the unlikely event that a letter carrier needs to look directly down at their shoes, the outer flap of the harness simply needs to be closed by pushing on it with one of your free hands. It can even be pushed off to one side if need be. I do not need to explain to anyone that people do not naturally walk like Linus from Charlie Brown, staring at their shoes as they travel. They scan the area in front of them by a few meters, looking for obstacles and hazards, then employ a combination of memory and common sense to travel down the safest path. My name is Leilania Olson. I am currently working as a letter carrier out of Calgary and have been struggling with immense irritating pains throughout my upper back, shoulders, arms, and wrists from the current mail carry methods. It is bad enough that I would elect not to carry mail anymore and find work within other departments. After using the harness for 1 week, it alleviated all of the problems I was having. As an added bonus, my energy levels seemed to improve as well. I would love to be able to use one of these for my job and really think that this harness would benefit a lot of carriers who would also help in avoiding injuries and muscle strain. My name is James Samuelson. I had developed a lot of pain in my upper and lower back, wrists, and left elbow. I was assuming that this is what happens over time working this job, so I tried a multiple of different methods carrying bundles and loading my satchel to no avail or relief. I tried using the harness for 2 weeks straight, and after only a few days my pain subsided. I no longer had the terrible back, wrist, and elbow pain from holding my arm in that static position for hours, trying to manage the mail bundles. I also think using the harness forced me to level out my carry better to displace weight evenly around my body. The biggest advantage I believe the harness gives me is the ability to use both arms when walking and negotiating stairs. At one of my points of call, in a busy townhouse complex, I lost my footing on some ice while climbing stairs. Luckily, I had both hands available and was able to grasp the railing with my left hand. Normally, this hand would be holding mail, and stabilize myself with my right hand using the wall. I would have surely fallen if I wasn't using the harness at the time. Another enormous asset to this device is that I am now much more productive outside of work hours, enjoying my personal time rather than spending it in massage therapy and filling countless hours stretching at home. I cannot believe that these devices are as of yet unavailable, as it is a major improvement over the current carry method and would allow one to continue to work in a pain and injury-free environment. My name is Alicia Rock. I've been a carrier for over 10 years, and in the last few years I started to have shoulder issues. I wanted to try a prototype chest harness Bobby had designed. I have used it on my heavy loops since then, and it has hugely reduced the stress put on my shoulder. I really want to continue to use it to prevent any more damage to my shoulder. I think this is important for all carriers to have the comfort and safety of wearing this harness. Emmanuel Weissman. To whom it may concern, I am 2 months in on a trial of Bobby Comer's chest harness, using it as an addition to the traditional dual satchel. I agreed to try it in the hope of alleviating my aches and pains that started to show up in recent times. Amazingly, the shift of weight has made it more comfortable, and the proximity of the mail improves my visibility as everything is close to your chest, not at arm's length. Since the use of said device, undeniable physical improvements happened. My stride is looser, arm positions more relaxed, and weight distribution more centralized. After suffering from plantar fasciitis in both feet, tendinitis in the left elbow, bundle carrying arm, crippling arthritis in fingers, this device has helped change the mechanics of delivery and no more flare-ups of past damages. Thank you for taking the time to hear us. E. Weissman.